Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 14th of December. Right as we inch towards the holiday season, just having a look where that North American market finished. We're pretty sort of flat. Okay, the Nasdaq down 0.2, which has been one of the key drivers, and the Dow Jones slightly up. No major moves there. Just looking at the correlation matrix. I tell you what, the metals are really kicking in with the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So just keep an eye on those. There's a pretty high correlation there at the moment. It's a good idea. I mean, obviously on Mondays as well. Just have a look what's going on with the various currency pairs. If I can just move my picture there. You'll see the Aussie up 1.77% over the last 5 days, right? Massively outperforming pretty much everything. The Kiwi 0.9 behind it. So to me, the Aussie is massively overdone at these levels. You're probably looking for opportunities to get short Aussie. It's either that. I can't see all these other pairs at this point unless the dollar goes through some major news event. I can't see these currencies moving. So that Aussie is a definite standout and something to keep an eye on, right? We get some negative news or some positive US news, this thing should really correct aggressively. Now, just having a look at the where the dollar is, right? Just come back down here. So this downtrend in the US dollar is still in play. I know it's just been trading sideways since the 4th of December, last 10 days. But, you know, we've still got resistance up here on the index around 91.25. So keep an eye on that. Looking at the daily chart, you can see very clearly where these resistance levels are. Now, the market at these levels at the moment doesn't seem too interested to take the US dollar lower or even buy it. So what we're waiting for is some sort of news event to clear things up and give us some sort of direction. Now, if you do look at the news, what's going on, this is where the news can really get behind things. So it's dollar up as risk sentiment sours. Now, that was obviously written before the market shut and the US dollar comes off. So that, you know, often they write the news to fit the event or the move. In this case, they'll be kicking themselves that they probably wrote it too early. But one thing is going around, the vaccine campaign. Okay, they're trying to roll this out in the US. I think they're sort of suggesting that, or saying there's 2,500 people dying each day. Massive issue, obviously. US Supreme Court, the Donald's been struck another blow there, thrown out his case about getting some, the election stuff turned over 4 states, but that's just sort of out of the way. Now, what we've got is, don't forget, Brexit is going to be a major issue for sterling, right? So you're just trying to isolate these news events and equate them to what currency pairs they're going to impact. In fact, coming across to the major currency pairs, so I like to let these things sort of go for a day, and I've left all my support and resistance lines there. Excuse me. You can just sort of see where the trend lines are in play, but there's a little bit of convoluted price action. You can see this dollar CAD and even euro, right? They're just coming back down, testing the support or resistance, and then not really going on with it. No one really wants to aggressively get involved. It's probably because, for good reason, traders are lacking confidence because these trends are coming up. They're sort of in play for 16 hours or less. And then, you get all excited, you get a trade going, and then it sort of turns around on you. So good time to redraw your trend lines, make sure everything's in check. Obviously, coming into the start of the week, everyone will be redrawing their trend lines to the latest highs and lows. And that's what I do that sort of every day. You should get used to that too. Just notice here on sterling, a previous high going back to Q2 2018, 135.14. See how this move had just enough momentum to kick through it. That's, to me, it looks like a stop loss run on the top side, enough to flick out those stops above that level, and we're back in the groove. So now this trend line here, I'll adjust it, but this is where you got to really keep in mind with your technical analysis, right? So this thing here, you do have a touch up here, and there's one behind it as well. It's only got 3 touches. It's not awesome, but that's all we've got at the moment. So if I just snap that back into play, you can sort of see where it is, and I'll just leave that other line there as well. So what I'm trying to do is just get some sort of clear idea of what's going on. Now, Kiwi, one of those pairs that was outperforming the last couple of weeks, it's sort of slowed right down. And you can see this, look at this aggressive trend. These things, the Aussie and Kiwi in particular, they go up the stairs. When they come down, it's down the escalator, right? These things drop very quickly. They slowly rally. But that's a hell of a trend line to be sort of tracking there. and we are sort of stalling up here. To me, if the US dollar, if there's no change in the news in the US, then to me, and there's this stimulus package which was supposed to come out, that sort of seemed to have gone really cold. So the dollar falls, these things still go up 3 or 4 cents, the Aussie, Kiwi, and a lot of the currency pairs. So make sure you're sort of checking those out. And even like coming back to the euro, I like to come back and just sort of see, just shift the chart to the hourlies. I want to see where these old highs were. Okay, so this is what we've got. So coming right back over here. I want to know on my charts where the resistance is, even if it's miles away. So obviously originally the resistance was here. Now we've sort of, and you can see exactly where this thing came into play. You got 1, 2, not quite 3 there, but that trend line there at 120, the figure held in nicely. And now we've sort of popped up above that. So no real levels outside of that. If I just bring this across, I mean, I could draw that to the current level and I'll show you that. It's just going to be pretty fickle, not like a really solid line that's got loads of touches. I can just get that up and let me just zoom in. Oh. Okay. I'll drop that back to an hourly chart so I know what I'm looking at. So that's where you got it. It's not like awesome resistance, but you know what? When you do have trends moving, more often than not, you end up with these sort of pretty fickle trend lines that you have to use anyway. So that's where we are at the moment with most of the pairs are sort of waiting for the news event or the news to clear things up. So give us sort of really clear US dollar direction. To me, the data this week, okay, it's really Wednesday, Thursday, Friday heavy, right? So that's traders will be waiting for that key data to come out later in the week. And that's pretty much what you got to wait for, right? At the moment, you can see here quite nicely, the dollar is behaving very nicely against all the pairs, but you know what? It's only early doors. It's Sunday for most, obviously in Europe and North America. Take your time, pick these things off when the opportunities come. As I said, what we're ideally looking for is really clear US dollar direction. I think we've got the Fed on Thursday, or maybe Wednesday. Thursday, we've got the Bank of England, and there's some US retail sales and some other data out there too. So Wednesday onwards is your key trade days. Outside of that, have a look around, see if you can see what's happening. If you can identify the direction or the end or the entry, then you may have a short-term trading opportunity on. All right, guys, have a good one. Cheerio.